Chunibyo, sometimes just called a Chuni. These are people that have delusions of grandeur, that somehow they are better than everyone else. They have some hidden knowledge, some secret power. It is something we see a lot in anime. Even in a fantasy world, somehow the Chuni comes out in many of the main characters. The manga I'm reviewing today is one where even the author at times will make fun of the main character for being a little cringe. Even though he actually has magic powers, he's just like, he's a little cringe. And honestly, I can appreciate that. I'm just another reader, and today I'm reviewing Berserk of Gluttony. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into chapter 1. So the early chapters for this were split up in a prologue and a chapter 1. But I think the prologue was just like testing some things because it rehashed a lot of things that are spread out over chapter 1. So we're just going to read this first page of the prologue, then move on to chapter 1. There are two kinds of people in this world. The difference between them is whether or not they receive a special power granted by God. Those who get a powerful skill battle monsters to gain levels and become successful, while those without one, and I'm sure you can fill in the blank. And then we have chapter 1 of Berserk of Gluttony, the story of a boy who overthrows those who once deemed him worthless and incompetent. And he's got a little bit of an edgy mask. Obviously, why not? Our story begins in the capital city, Seifert. And we've got horses. You know, it's a classic medieval town. And we have a hungry person. His stomach is growling. Seems like the skill Gluttony is active today as well. He's just hungry as hell, guarding his post. This damn failure of a skill. And, you know, he's holding his post and someone says, "Hey, Fate." That's our main character's name. "Did you properly perform the gatekeeper duties in our place?" "Yes, Bedrick Lasfa. Here's your wage for today." Throws the coins on the ground. He's just like, "Pick it up." "Whoops, my bad." And he steps on his hand. "Who knew that you had a hand? It's so dirty I overlooked it." So clearly they're looking down on him. "We are hiring trash like you, so be more grateful. You got an honorable job. It wouldn't be strange if it was unpaid. Do you even know who's keeping you alive? Hurry up and stand, you useless maggot. Stop that at once. Your actions towards the people we should be protecting are unbefitting of a holy knight." And, you know, we've got the love interest, the person that saves them. We know where this is going. So it's Roxy Hart's shift today. Let's go. And there's some resentment. This guy is probably going to come back and hurt our main character. And she's just like, "Fate, are you all right?" "Yes, Roxy-sama. Since this is always happening, thank you very much." "You don't have to thank me. Aren't we both gatekeepers? And it's only natural for a holy knight. If they ever bother you again, be sure to tell..." Oh, well, he thinks back. He's like, "Nah, no good. Don't do that." He's just like, "Nah. I can't simply bother you with such things. With that, I'll excuse myself." "She must not get involved. You shouldn't bother with me. Focus on your own path without any distractions." And he goes to the bar, because that's what you do after work. You know, he's getting some food. "Sorry for the wait. How was your day working as a gatekeeper?" "It was quite hard." "You shouldn't always be eating soup and bread with some cheap wine. How about some meat for a change?" "I've already forgotten how meat tastes. At this rate, you'll end up like your predecessor. The only thing that awaits you at the end of hard labor and endless problems is a bad end. I pray that you don't die from overworking." "Death from overwork, eh? I've been living like this in the capital for around 5 years. I don't think I will live long at this rate." And then we see some bandits crawling over the wall. They aren't visible from the gate. I need to hurry and warn her. "Roxy-sama, what's wrong?" "Some bandits have gotten over the eastern wall." "Really?" "I'm certain, though I don't have any evidence." "I don't know why he needs evidence. You're a guard and you just saw someone entering the castle, but hey." And, you know, she lifts her spear. "I believe you, and I'll be on my way. So can I leave this place to you meanwhile?" "Of course." She hands him her spear. She runs off. We hear some clang, crashing, you know, fighting noises. He's like, "Roxy, it's gone silent. Is it over?" And we hear some steps, tap, tap, tap. And there is a one-armed bandit just running at him. He's got a sword. And he's just like, one of them escaped. Okay. No, I can't let that happen. Roxy-sama left me in charge here. If I let him escape, it would cause a trouble. My opponent is wounded. Even I should be able to. And he steps to the side. We hear a stab noise. He's been impaled. The man falls to the floor. Thank God, I managed to defeat him. What's this? Something's coming from the man's hand. Gluttony skill activated. Adding a new skill to your status. Mental appraisal has been added. Does the voice from the skill activation lead to heaven or hell? So we just ended that chapter 1 manga. It was a little short, and we ended with him activating the gluttony skill. And it's like, does heaven or hell await him? Now, you think in a world like this, when you activate your skill, it's kind of a good thing. But the way gluttony works is, as the name would imply, it needs to eat a lot. And once you kill once, you have to continue to kill to feed gluttony. And well, what happens if you stop killing? You give in to the urges and you go on a primal rampage, pretty much. And that is the main driving force of the early part of the story of like, hey, our main character, his name is Fate, is like, I need to go out at night and just kill monsters to make sure I don't go crazy and go on a rampage. Speaking of our main character, Fate, who is he? So he is someone that's like, you already know what I'm about to say pretty much just from the first chapter, but he's been bullied, he's looked down upon, he's considered commoner trash. And once he gets strong, he's going to want revenge. So it's kind of like that revenge story. And this is where the chuny aspect mixes with that revenge story and his gluttony skill. And he comes off cringe at times. He's like, his eyes glow red also when he's nearing the state where he's becoming hungry. And it's like he covers up his eyes like, oh no, I'm getting hungry. This is bad. It's a little cringe in the grand scheme of things to just have a character like that. And even in the cover, if you look at this cover right here, you'll see like he's got a skull mask to hide his identity. There's no reason that it had to be a skull mask, but he wears all black and red. I mean, we kind of know the character that the author envisioned. He envisioned this cool badass that's like, I must hide my secret. It is what it is. It's a little cringe, but hey, I actually like the first part of this manga. I read the entire manga in one sitting, and up to chapter 38, it's pretty streamlined. One arc leads to the next very well, but I don't want to get into that too quickly. Let's talk about the other characters. So we met Roxy in chapter 1, and she is a classic 1%er noble, but she's actually nice to the commoners, which makes her a love interest. Of course, that's classic. I mean, she's rich and cares about people? Now that is wife material. There's the 3 other guards that bully him, and you got to remember them, by the way, because they pop up later in the story, and I read it in one sitting and I thought, who are these people? They don't come up that often, but it's just like, you got to remember that they are antagonistic to our main character very early, and so he holds that grudge, and it's part of the revenge arc, you could say. So we have Roxy, we've got our main character. That's who we meet in chapter 1 of his main cast that aren't enemies. There's also a few other characters, but the most important one I want to mention here, which isn't really a spoiler because it comes up in the next 2 chapters, is he gets a special sword that's like black, it looks cool. He gets it for cheap. He finds it in the market. Of course he does. That's the classic. Like, it's actually not trash. It's good. Just like him. There's some parallels between him and his sword. And this sword is called Greed. You're noticing a pattern, probably. 7 sins are in this. I need to talk about why 7 sins keep popping up in Japanese culture. I mean, that's like a more Christian thing. I don't know how Christian of a nation Japan is, but hey, that's besides the point. So we've got this sword named Greed, and it acts as a way for us to get the inner monologue of our main character, Fate, conversing with someone and talking about things he normally wouldn't be able to talk to anyone else. Also, the sword's also a pretty good weapon, but that's besides the point. Greed, the sword, and that's how we refer to him, isn't that talkative about who he is, what secrets lie in these 7 deadly sins stuff. He tries not to talk about that pretty much. So we have a little bit of a mystery that also pushes us forward, because we meet other people in this world who become part of the main cast who hold some kind of 7 deadly sins skill or weapon, which makes it like there's some grand conspiracy going on here. I've said it before, but up to chapter 38 is kind of like the main arc of the story, I would say. Like, there's a start, end, middle, and it flows really well. After that, it gets pretty weird. I'm not saying everything after chapter 38 is bad. I'm just saying the tone of the story changes greatly, and it seems like a filler arc for some reason. It's really weird. Like, if I told you what happens in the arc, it wouldn't spoil the story at all. There's no major plot points. It gets resolved pretty easily within like 6 chapters. It's just weird that it happened. Like, if you read this manga and you get to that point, you're gonna be like, why did that switch happen? It's just strange overall. But besides that, this manga is pretty good. It kept me entertained throughout its ride. And that's not saying it is like a 8 out of 10. It's barely like a 7 out of 10. I say it's a 6.5 out of 10. And if you like this kind of manga, it's probably going to go to a 7.5. If you don't like this kind of manga, it probably goes down to a 5.5. Like, it doesn't do anything overly bad. It's not overtly just bad in some parts of the story. It is quite competent in the story it's trying to tell. And that's why I give it a 6.5. Probably rate it higher if after chapter 38 it just didn't end up being so weird and like it was stalling for time to pick up with a main plot line again. Because before that, everything is him getting stronger, finding out more about the world, finding out who are the real players in this world, and knowing that he's starting to become someone they can affect more than just this small area around him. This is a bit of a shorter manga this week, and I am going to start doing not as many manga. There's some stories I've been reading that are a little longer, so I've been doing manga for a few weeks. But I'm also going to start doing some more webtoons. I just got to figure out a format for that because webtoons look weird in the current way I edit my videos. But we'll see how we do it. I think I've found something I like and I'm really latched onto. But besides that, I'm just another reader. Thanks for watching.